Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Michelle and you've reached my channel, Farm Girl Dry Goods. I know it's been 6 months since my last video. I really didn't intend for it to be that long. After my last video, I was putting together a lot of kits for Christmas. And I'll be honest, that was the extent of my creative endeavors, was putting together wool kits and getting through the holidays. And I just really, that kind of zapped my creative juices for quite a while. I just picked up needle and thread maybe a month ago, maybe not even quite that long ago, and started stitching again. So that's really why I haven't been around. But I do have a lot of stuff I want to share with you. And I have my stitchy bug is back full force. You may hear some chirping in the background. I have about 35 chicks in a brooder in my kitchen right now. So if you hear that, that's what that is. And then I also want to say I have Invisaligns in. I put all my kids through braces and decided it was my turn. So if you hear a little lisp, or I feel like I talk really funny with it, so just try and look past it. And if you see like a funny shine, that's what it is. I have to wear them 22 hours a day to get through 21 sets of Invisaligns, and I'm on set 6. So I really don't want to, and I tend to leave them places if I take them off. So, or forget to put them back on, and then I have to wear them an extra day. I wanted to touch base real quick on retreats. I've been getting bazillions of messages the past month about how to sign up for retreats. My retreats are farm girl gatherings. I'm the person who hosts the retreats in May and October, cross stitch retreats in Amana, Iowa. So that's me. I'm the organizer of that. They are full. The October retreat is also full at this time. I do typically get a couple cancellations, not many for October. There is just not a lot of turnaround on that retreat, so there aren't typically a lot of openings. The designer for that retreat is Lori Markovic from La Di Da, which is super cool. I'm so excited. Yeah, so we've been chatting, and it's been super fun chatting with her and doing the planning process. And then the next retreat is happening in just a couple weeks with Teresa Kogut, and I'm super excited. I have met Teresa. She actually comes to my retreats, so I've met her a few times, and she is just as sweet as you'd think she is, and I love her designs, and I'm so excited. I have not seen the sampler that she has designed. I like it to be a surprise for me too, so I just get little tidbits of it, maybe some colors and some themes. It is a theme, but it's not like a seasonal theme. So and it feels way longer than 6 months since my October retreat, so it feels like it's been 3 years. I don't know why. And we always have a great time. Amana, Iowa is a wonderful place, and there's amazing shopping there. Okay, sorry about that. Someone just pulled up the driveway. So I just wanted to mention the best way to find out about openings for the retreat is going to be my website, farmgirldrygoodsllc.com. At the bottom of any page on the website, you can subscribe. There's a little box there. You can put in your email, and you can subscribe to my newsletter. And I haven't had any recently. I've been really focusing on things for the retreat and for my Patreon channel, which is Farm Girl Makes Stuff. I have turned one of those tiers into a fabric club. So I have been dyeing fabric for the past month. I've got that first kit out. I'm going to show you that. But that's what I've been doing. So, but I did have quite a few spots that went out in newsletters, or 3 or 4 spots, and I will send those out, and you go through my website to sign up for them. I do not have a waiting list. That's my most common asked question. The reason why, I used to, when I had the Midwest Cross Stitchers Facebook group, I used to have a waiting list. And what I found is that waiting list would get to be 150, 200 people deep. And people would sign up just to sign up, just to see if they could get in or whatever their reason was. But it didn't seem like most people had any intention of actually attending. And I have to give people time to respond. So if I have 2 spots open and it's a short cancellation and I'm having to wait a day or 2 for someone to respond, sometimes it was taking 2 weeks to fill 1 or 2 spots, because I had so many people turn it down, and I just don't have that kind of time. And a lot of times it's too close to the retreat. There was actually last fall, there were 5 spots that there were cancellations and I wasn't able to fill. Because Amana is a very small town, and if you don't book your accommodations a couple months in advance, it is next to impossible if they have a big event going on in town the same weekend that we're there to get a hotel room. So, and they did build a new hotel, but they jack up the prices if there's a big event. So I know like the weekend that Teresa Kogut is coming, there is a college that's having a graduation and their rooms have like doubled. So you really have to have time to be able to book your room. That's all. I do provide meals too, so the retreats aren't inexpensive. And when you're trying to find $400 or $500 to pay for the retreat plus hotel and spending money and travel expenses, it's a month, and within a month, a lot of people can't do that, and I understand that. So I just really I'm not having a waiting list for that reason. But I do pop out there and put them on. I post a lot of them on Patreon. I post them to my Instagram, which is also Farm Girl Dry Goods. And so you can go there and set the notification to alert you. And you can actually get a notification sent to your phone whenever I post something. So that's helpful if you're wanting to attend a retreat. I don't know what else to tell you. There are 75 spots available and 3 billion people in the world. I mean, I can't accommodate anyone. I've had people get very upset at me about the sign up process, and there's just nothing I can do about it. I would love to have everybody who wants to come, but the reality is I only have so many spots available. With that said, I am doing a new retreat. And many of you know that my business is also includes a lot of wool applique. I love to do wool applique. And so I am putting together a wool retreat this year, and it is going to be in Amana again. It's in July. I'm going to scroll the dates here because I don't remember them off the top of my head. There will be an exclusive design with designed by Dawn Shuck from Sew Cherished. And if you went to, or if you are going to Quilter Station, that is her home base in Missouri. And a lot of the wool applique designs you see in that shop are Dawn. I've known about Sew Cherished for a long time. I've done a few of her patterns. And I love her. She's got a very kind of folk arty style. It will be designed for, and this is hands-on instruction. So if you've never done wool applique before, this is the kind of retreat that you want to do. So it is designed with the beginner in mind, but it will teach intermediate type stitches as well. Some techniques that even if you have done wool applique before, you may not have done this particular technique. This is specific to Dawn. Rita from Quilter Station. It's amazing. I love that shop because there's such camaraderie there. Rita is helping Dawn design something extra special and amazing for us. So there are some spots open for that. I will put the link to that retreat down in the description box. So if you want to check that out, that's also, it's 3 days, 2 days of instructions from Dawn. I put just an extra day in there for stitching. People like to gather and stitch and chat and do all that. And you can bring cross stitching. It's not, if you want to do that, that's fine. And then Dawn will have a project for us, which she'll teach on Friday and Saturday. And again, meals will be provided, lunch and dinner on Friday and Saturday. So that's included in the price. I feel like that's just a great time for kind of fellowship and to sit and chat and meet people and get to know other stitchers. I try and sit at a different table every night so I can meet as many people as possible. It's been just a great experience for me personally, which is why I continue to do them. Anyways, I want to get into the stitching. I have also giveaways. I'm going to put those at the end. The winners, I have stacks of charts and things from my last video, and so we'll do that at the end. And so if you enter to win something, please, if you don't watch the video, scroll to the end so that you at least find out whether or not you get one. So what have I been doing? Some of the things I've been stitching on. I wanted to show you what I was working on when I stopped stitching last year, because it was Christmas, and I do have a couple of really beautiful projects that I didn't want to put away until next year to show you. So this one is Heaven and Nature Sing. It's by Kathy Barrick. It's beautiful. The pattern, it's written for, I think, needlepoint silks, or it's silks of some kind. I did the DMC conversion, and it's gorgeous. Those little trees are going to be the death of me. It's what's kind of holding me up. I did get a lot done. This deer has been headless for about 5 years, so I finally got the head done. Got those antlers almost done, and then there's a little verse, and I need to finish a few trees, and there's like a berry basket or something that goes up in this corner. But it's stunning. I believe that this is just a Zweigart Platinum linen, like my favorite basic go-to color. And I'm stitching it on a 32 count with 2 strands of floss. Isn't it pretty? The colors are amazing. I want to get this done because there's like a kind of a series of these, and I think there's one with the swan, and I think that there is now a 3rd one. I can't remember, but they're all kind of in this vein where they have like a large focal animal, and they're stunning. I'm trying to think of what the other one is. I can't remember. But the swan is really beautiful too. So that was what I was working on around Christmas time that I got some progress on. And then after the retreat, so I had my retreat last fall with Brenda Gervais, and she brought all of her new releases for us. And so I bought a bunch of kits, and this is, it's the Snowball is what it is. It's this cute little one, the series that she's got, the seasonal series with all the small little pillows. There's a lot of stitching in those little buggers, but they sure are cute. I'm doing the whole thing. I think there are 7 total. And so there's 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's like a little gingerbread house. Let's see if I can find it. This is a seasonal series. There it is. And they are adorable. I had a bunch of the little wool snowballs available on my website. They are sold out, but I'm hoping next year I'll do them again when they're seasonal, when they're in season. But so this is a kit. It's all the called for. I bought this kit with all the threads and everything directly from Brenda. She had them at the shop, and this is my progress. I think this is the R&R Brenda's Brew. So cute. Little snow globe, and then the little sled guy. And so that's what I was working on. And I will pick that up again probably this fall. This, by the way, it's all DMC. And yes, this is, and it came with the trim and everything. Isn't that terrible that this is how I keep it? So I've really enjoyed stitching on that one. And then I put a few stitches in. This is the LW Motif Sampler by Samplers Not Forgotten. Very pretty. And I put a few more stitches in this, but as soon as I'm done with the 2 samplers that I'm working on, this is going to be a focal piece for me. I've been really into finishing stuff lately and very monogamous. I love the colors in this. They're so soft and just right up my alley. I have decided that I'm going to stitch things that I want to hang in my home. I follow a couple of like primitive, they're not designers, but like primitive decor channels. One is Anne, oh, I can't think of her name, but I watch, she does a lot of tours. She lives in, I don't know, she lives where all the beautiful salt box houses are that I love, that you don't see in the Midwest. That East Coast primitive colonial style that you really don't see a lot of in the Midwest, and I really love that. She does these home tours, and these people always have these incredible samplers hanging in their homes, and some of them are reproductions. There's one lady, she has people stitch them for her. She just pays somebody if she sees a sampler, and because she doesn't stitch, she just pays somebody to do it for her, and they're just beautiful. And the way that they incorporate them into their decor and their design, it's just really beautiful. I do have a small sampler wall here. I really want to get kind of away from doing that and just kind of mix my pieces in with my decor. Paulette Stewart is really good at that. She will post pictures on her Instagram, and just her home is so beautiful, and you can just see like a sampler hanging on the wall, and it just beautifully fits the decor of her home, and I love that. And that's how I really want to start incorporating my stitching into my home. So with that said, I would not say that I'm a sampler stitcher at all, but I do love like a big antique sampler as decor. But I have never, like, I've always loved them, and I don't want to go out and buy antiques. First of all, they're expensive and they can be really hard to find, and I'm not about restoring them. That's just not my jam, going and searching for them. I love stitching them, so why not stitch them myself and incorporate them into my decor? So that is my plan. And so I have a couple that I really want to work on, and I'm going to be dyeing some fabric specifically for Isabella Fox. I'm going to grab that one real quick. Okay, here it is. Ooh, let me take this out. It's so beautiful. I really love an Adam and Eve sampler. I don't know why, I'm just really feeling them lately. This one truly speaks to me. It calls to me at night when I'm trying to do other things. I'm thinking about Isabella Fox. Now, I originally kitted this up. I actually don't know what happened to my threads. I may have 2 copies of this chart, and this may, because I'm pretty sure I have this kitted up somewhere. I'm good for buying multiple copies. But this is really, really beautiful. I really want to find a way to grunge it up and make it as close to this as possible. It's just so stunning. So this will be, I have 2 samplers I'm going to finish before I allow myself to start this one. I love the really dark linen. Brenda from Brenda and the Serial Starter, I think like it was probably like 2 years ago, she actually started a stitch along with this. I'm not actually sure if she started stitching this or not, but I'm going to post my progress on Instagram, and I'll use that same hashtag. If you're ever curious about, having to decide what kind of fabric you want to use, I find Instagram to be such an awesome tool for that. If there's a stitch along going on, or even like if you just type in Isabella Fox and search hashtags using it, you'll find all sorts of posts with this sampler in it. And then you can go through, and a lot of times the people that are posting their progress pictures will tell you what kind of fabric that they're using, if they've changed floss or anything like that. And if not, you can always try messaging them and asking. But it's so stunning. This is my next big project. And I'll show you what I have been working on. So I've got a couple samplers that I'm working on finishing. And I've made some amazing progress on them. in the past couple weeks. One is Caroline Amelia Trowel, and this is With Thy Needle and Thread. So I don't have the chart right here, so I'm going to post a picture of it here of what the finished sampler looks like. The colors, they are my absolute jam. I just love how soft and pretty they are. This is like one of those perfect pieces that would incorporate into my decor. I actually think this one will go into my bedroom. I have white bedroom furniture in there, and I think that this one will go perfectly. So I don't think it'll take too much. I am going to take, this is going to be my retreat project because I have that house all blocked out, and all I need to do is fill in that house. If I can fill in that house, that would be amazing. That's generally all the stitching I get done. Maybe I'll work on the border. But I try not to do anything too complicated at retreats because I'm really, 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 really terrible about miscounting. I mean, I miscount enough on my own without being at a retreat and being distracted. And next, this has been my focus piece. This is Martha Pudsey. And I am so close to being done with this, but it's like every time you think, oh, I just have 1 or 2 more things to do, you realize that there's like 4 or 5 more things to do. So I'm really close. I need to put, there's another little deer here and a little motif that goes above that. I need to finish that 1/1. That's a little bit of torture. Not enjoying that. I'm glad it's only a small verse, but I was a dummy and I did full crosses. I should have done a 10 stitch. I'm not sure. I think this is a 36 count Oaken by Picture This Plus. I love it. I love the modeling in it. This is one of my all-time favorite fabrics. Sometimes it can have a little bit of a pink cast to it. I have so many projects kitted up with this fabric. I just love it. And then I just need to finish this motif here. Oh, and then in the border, and this is the kind of stuff I don't mind at all. I might take this to the retreat too, there is another little design element, like these little, I don't know if they're supposed to be thorns or what they are. It goes, in a different color, it goes all the way around the bottom, and I need to do that around the whole thing. I just did this part here around the top of the bud, and or I assume that's what this is supposed to be. And it didn't take me long, so I'm not worried that that's going to take me a long time. I'm worried that 1/1 is going to take me a long time. But this is something, I mentioned this on one of my Patreon videos. There are 5 million mistakes in this thing. I am a bit of a perfectionist, so sorry, my chicks are going crazy. For me, I'm not sure if this is going to be frame worthy or not. For someone else, you might say, no one's going to notice. It doesn't matter. I will notice it. And I have so many mistakes, and this thing is such a mess. I don't know if I'll ever be happy with it framed. The border is off. There are stitches that are off. Half of the bottom, I didn't realize I was holding it. I was not paying attention, and I was just going to town and holding it sideways, so all of my stitches are off. Like, these are all going this way, and the other ones are all, they're sideways. And I did half of it, and then I was actually doing the color of the flower when I realized my mistake, and I'm not in the mood to rip out all of that. And I've gone through so much of that thread, and I'm stitching it in silks. There's twice now I've had to reorder threads. So, and I just want it done. I might just put it away for a little bit and see how I feel about it in a couple months, but I really want this on my wall, but I don't know. Maybe I'll put it upstairs where I don't see it every day, and then it won't be so painful to look at, and maybe I'll appreciate it more, but it is a beautiful, beautiful sampler. The colors are just amazing. I don't know what that chick is tweeting about there. So I really love the darker fabrics too. It has taken me years I used to really like lighter fabrics, but I really enjoy darker fabrics. I also have some finishes, some things that I had framed in 2021, and I really wanted to share those because I love them. The first one is, it's by the Scarlet House, and it is called Sleigh Rides and Snowflakes. This was a very easy stitch, super enjoyable, a lot of repetitive things. So if you like kind of mindless stitching that you can just sit and not really have to think about. I've had this sitting on the table for a while, so it might be a little dusty. This one is really easy. By the time you do 2 of the snowflakes, you've memorized it. The trees are super easy, and then the house is a lot of fill-in. And I have all my stuff framed at Michael's. I've mentioned that before. They're super quick. Takes them 2 weeks to do it. So, yeah, I really love this one. I keep this out all year long. And another one is, many of you joined with me and stitched Harriet Elizabeth Coe. And this one is so dusty. It's been sitting, I actually filmed this video once before, and I had a little mishap with my phone. Kudos to Samsung for making phones that are super tough. I was in the barn and didn't realize that my dough had kicked Tinsley. She had kicked my phone off of, because I had it sitting on the end of the milk stand. She kicked it into the milk bucket. So I knew I had just been texting someone, and I brought the milk into the house and put it in the pasteurizer, and I was like, where is my phone? And I looked everywhere for it. Finally I had my daughter call it, which I had to email her, or not email her, like Facebook her. And because I don't have a landline, and it was such a mess, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And when I got a hold of her and she called it, she said it went right to voicemail and it was fully charged. So I know, and it was really cold outside, so I figured the battery had died. I couldn't find it, and I thought, I have 10 acres here, and I had been all over doing chores. So I thought, I'm never gonna find it. And I went to go feed babies that night, and here it came spilling out of the milk bucket. Now I pasteurize milk. It takes about an hour, a little over an hour to pasteurize milk, and I heat it up to 165 degrees. So the phone had overheated and automatically turned off. And the next day, I could not believe it. It turned on. It turned on and it worked. The only problem is the fat from the solids from the milk fat clogged the ports in the phone. Otherwise, it worked perfectly. So I ended up having to get a new phone. That was a very expensive mistake. But yeah, so I filmed the video, and the sound was horrific. And it was, but that's a good story, and kudos to Samsung. Anyways, so many of you will remember and have stitched Harriet Elizabeth Coe with me. I do have this chart available on my website. And this is it's by With Thy Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais, and it is a reproduction sampler. I saw the original a few years ago when she brought a pop-up shop to one of my retreats, and it was so pretty. It's all my colors, and this is exactly what I mean by, like, this is something that is lovely, that fits in really well with my decor. I had this framed again at Michael's. I stitched mine. The called for is a 30 count R&R, and I can't remember which one. I'm pretty sure this is 32 count Winter's Brew. And I love it. Love the colors. So when I brought it into Michael's and I got it back, all of this gold, it was so brassy looking. And I really wanted to tone it down, and here, this is kind of what it looked like. And it just like screamed gold to me, and I really wanted to tone it down and look more antique-y, and like I had been in this frame for a long time. So when I got it back from the framer, I took some steel wool to it and antiqued it. and that black paint is what's under the gold. I did the same to the inside here. And I really prefer it like that versus a really bright gold. But I love this. I was kind of surprised when I got it back. You know, I left an inch margin, and then with the bigger frame, how big this was. So it's great hanging on a wall. I love this so much. This is one of my very favorites. All right, and then I have a couple more to show you. Next is, this is Your Grand Old Flag by Samplers Not Forgotten. I mean, this just screams for a big chunky frame like this. And I saw it. This is the Country Sampler colorway. So it uses the same fabric, which is, I believe, it's Weeks Dye Works Confederate Gray. But Jeannie is brilliant in color, like toning down colors. This is her conversion. So she did tone down some of the reds and things. And the sampler is also hanging at Country Sampler, and it gets me every time. So I had to go in and stitch it. This was another stitch along I did on the Midwest Cross Stitchers page. And there have been a lot of people that have finished this, and it's so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. I love it. That house is, I put like non-reflective or museum glass on my pieces, but you can see, I mean, they do still sometimes, you know, you do get some reflection, but for the most part, it's non-reflective. So you can see the house there. It's every other color, that whole top of the house. It was a lot. And then this is stitched on the diagonal to get that kind of texture. I had to do that roof 3 times because I did not read the directions. So always read your pattern directions, because I couldn't figure out why my roof wasn't showing up like it was in the picture. And I really liked the texture to it, so I wanted it to be like that. So I love this one. And again, I had this one done at Michael's too, I believe. Pretty sure. That one. Okay, and then I have one more to show you, and I need to go grab that one off the wall. Okay, next is American Sampler by Plum Street Samplers. This was originally a retreat piece for Dying to Stitch. And when this came out for the retreat, I died. I wanted it so desperately. So I was so glad when it was finally released, and I jumped at it and bought it right away. And then it took me a few years to stitch it. It's a biggin, but it's so beautiful. No one does these big originals like Paulette does. She's just a master at them, and I absolutely love them. And this is, this was so enjoyable to stitch. It took a long time, but I like big blocks of color like this, so it doesn't bother me. And I really enjoyed doing the house and the windows. It's just kind of mindless, and all this fill in was really, really fun. I had a chunk of it done, kind of the roof, and I realized I had messed up on this border when I went to go add this flag. So I had to take out like half that border, and it just kind of soured me to it for a year or two before I picked it up again. And then I just picked it up and couldn't put it down, and then I finished it. I had this again framed at Michael's, so I'm going to tell you this in case you go look for these frames at Michael's and you realize that they look completely different. So this one, you can't really tell as much anymore, but when I got this one back, I don't know, it has like this silvery finish to it, but it was also blue, and it was like in blocks. And because the sample at the store had been handled so much, the corner molding that you get had been handled so much, it almost had like a patina to it, so you didn't notice it, and you're only looking at a small portion of it. So when you get this big piece framed and you get it back, you can kind of see where there are some lines here. It was almost like it was blocked. So you can see, it's really, you can't see it so much anymore, but it would be like every 4 or 5 inches here, it would be kind of like a different color, like blue or silver, and I hated it. And it's such a cute frame. It's got these little stars, and I thought they did a really good job of trying to get them together at the corners, because they did warn me about that when I chose this molding. But it's a nice, substantial, heavy, it's all wood. It's a beautiful frame. And they just did a really good job. That was the only thing that I didn't like, was the silver, kind of silver and blue leaf that they put on. So I did my old steel wool trick again, and I distressed it with the steel wool, and I like it much better. Again, these were, all the stars were very super shiny too. And you can kind of see right there where the color is. And I just took it and toned it all down. The sides are solid black, so. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I didn't pop them out of the frame or anything. So I did take a vacuum to it and get all the dust out, but I was a little concerned about getting some of that inside the frame and having it junk it up. I mean, worst case scenario, I would have had to take the back out and, vacuum it out, whatever. But it makes all the difference in the world with how this looks, and it's really beautiful. So I'm so happy to have this done. It's so stunning. I love it. Thank you, Paulette. I love it. I'm so happy that I have no talent in designing things like this, but I can get beautiful samplers from amazing designers. So with that said, I have my kit here. It's another one I want to be hanging in my home. I was watching Lisa Smith. Oh, look, I forgot. Oh, I forgot. She signed this to me. It's for me. So Paulette did my retreat last May. She is coming back next May. So this May is Teresa Kogut. Last May was Paulette. And then next May will be Paulette again. And she signed my box. I love her. She is, I feel like she's one of my best friends now. I had such a great time. She's a great person. She's so funny. She's just so genuine and sweet and crazy talented. Live on Little was the design she did for us. Another gigantic house, and it happens to be my favorite. I love, like, aqua blues are my favorite colors. It's just so fabulous. And I was watching, let's see. So Kim Parda I've not seen a video in her forever. So beautiful. So there's the chart. Has not been released yet. I would assume she's going to release it this year sometime. They're exclusive to my retreat for a year, and then the designers can do what they want with them. So this hasn't been released yet, but I suspect it will be very soon, because I know lots of you want to get your hands on this. And I don't blame you. It's stunning. So Kim is like pretty much done with hers. She's going to bring it to the retreat. So with Teresa Kogut. So I'm hoping I'll get some video of that and be able to show it to you next time. And then Lisa was working on it. Now she actually started it at my house after the retreat last year. Her and Lori came back and stayed with me for a few days, and she started that, and she just had a little tiny corner, and it feels like she worked on it for a week and got like this much done. So I was watching her video yesterday, and she's got such a good portion of it done now, and it's really stunning. She's only got a little bit of the house, but she's got a lot of the water done. She says it's like a Haid. It is, and it's, I mean, this whole thing, it's a big sampler too, and like half of it is solid stitching. I mean, you better love fill-in if you're gonna do this one. But look at the water and the houses. It's just like this Cape Cod style house. It's amazing. This was also a kit. So there's fabric, and let's see, it's 36 count hog's bristle if you want to get a jump on that. Just beautiful. They're just so fun. And there's a few over dyed. There was a little waxer, just so much fun. And I really want to get that one started as well. Those are some of my wishes on my wish list. That one's going to take a while. It's going to take me a lot longer than American Sampler did, I'm sure. Then, let me just get some of this taken care of. Okay, and staying in the retreat theme, I have been working on, oh, and this one is signed too by Linda. It's so cool to be able to meet these designers. So if you get an opportunity to go to any retreat where there's going to be a designer, go, because they're super special. So this is Linda Lautenschlager from Chessie and Me, who is one of my favorites. I love, love, love her designs. This was for the, I think it was all the way back to maybe 2019. It was pre-COVID. It was, so Linda, Chessie and Me, and Barb from Blackbird Designs were there. And I started this one right away. This has been released now, so you can get this. And I started it right away. I got a lot of it done. I'm almost done. Just a few things to do here. Let me show you the inside. So it's a housewife, whatever you want to call it. So this is the outside, and we also got this tote. And then this is the inside and the Scissor Fob. So you can see I'm really close. It looks beautiful on this linen. The colors are just amazing. I would never put a gray on a gray and think it would look this amazing. Oh yeah, is there an initial? Oh yeah, I put my initials on there. I feel like there's something missing there, but nope, I don't think so. I really had fun stitching this. It's just beautiful. Different shades of gray. Gorgeous. And then I just need to do the inside here and stitch these here. I believe this is a nun stitch, so you can actually just cut right up to it and it won't unravel. And then you just stitch it to the back of this, and we got the whole kit. Okay, so somewhere I have the wool. That was provided to us as well for the inside of this, so somewhere I have that. I mean, it's not like I don't have wool, but I want it to look just like that. So that one will literally take me an evening to finish that up, the stitching part of it. And then who knows, maybe I'll send it out to be finished if I'm not in the mood. We'll see. We will see. And then another chart that I have that I really want to put some time into is, I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was. Someone tagged me on Instagram many years ago, actually, probably maybe 3 or 4 at this point, that she had posted this. I was talking something about agriculture on a story, and she shared this with me, and I was like, that is amazing. So this is a farmer themed sampler with, I won't read you the verse, but it's a farm themed verse and sampler. So you can see it's got like mules with the plows down here, and the corn, which I love, that border, and then the farm up on top. And this is another one I'd really like to have in hanging in my home. So I did start this one. Like I said, I love the dark fabrics. I don't even know what this is. If this is, it looks a little darker. It must be Weeks Dye Works Cocoa. It's kind of what it looks like. All those words. So I'm doing the words first, because if I did all the fun part, the borders and all that, I can tell you I'd never stitch that first. I just wouldn't do it. I don't love the colors, but I'm sticking with them. It's like a purple. in there. It's kind of bizarre, but it's all just DMC. And that's as far as I got. So nothing to write home about, but I love it. And I really want to finish it. It's the colors that I don't love. I mean, it's like rusty orange. I don't know. I did contemplate changing it, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. I'm not good at that. And I always regret it when I change colors. It's just not a gift of mine. One of the things I'm doing in my Patreon now is because I wanted to give back a little bit more than I was. And so I made my top tier, which I had limited before to, I think it was 16 people. And we used to do like monthly Zoom meetings, and that just wasn't working out. And I just wanted to be able to give back to my patrons. So I've been thinking hard. I have some other things coming up for all the tiers, and I'm going to be doing like some specials and things like that. I haven't set those in stone yet, so I'm not going to mention them. But I did contemplate for a long time doing something special for my top tier, which is $25 a month. And so I started, they don't have to do anything different. I opened it up to a few more people. There are a few spots available. This was just an added benefit so that I could do something more for them. So it has become a fabric club. And if you are a patron and you have not gotten your fabric and you don't want it spoiled, look away. So, and I will tell you when I'm done showing it, but I don't want to spoil your surprise. So the top tier is a fabric club. So they are now getting fat quarters quarterly as part of their patron benefit. And so these are hand-dyed fabrics by me. I will say, I'll show it in a minute here, but I will say, like, shout out to all the hand dyers, because it is not easy. There's been a huge learning curve for me with using commercial dyes versus using the RIT dyes. So with RIT dyes, you kind of pick a color, and it's very easy. The commercial dyes are much different. Not even a little bit different. They're much different. It was important to me to have a color fast fabric. So if you wanted to, you could wash this in cold water, and then just to work on getting consistency. I struggled with even using the same dye, got me very different results. So I'm going to show you two of those. So it was a struggle for me. Okay, so if you're in the linen club, look away, because I'm going to show the fabric. It's only available in linen at this point. I have them in 28, 32, 36, and 40. So this is the first linen that went out. This is a 32 count. And you can see there's a little modeling in there. And then the 40 count. Sometimes it would come off the same piece of linen and look different. But depending on, I dyed them all in the same type of tub and everything. So you really need to give kudos to the hand dyers out there, because it's not easy. A little inconsistent, which I'm working on. So some of you are going to get fabric that's a little less modeled, and some of you will get, it was just kind of the way that it sat in the dye bath. In any case, I have these as giveaways. So if you are interested in my my first fabric, this, by the way, I'm not offering in my shop at this time. It's really difficult right now to get a steady stock of linen, and in order to make sure, my goal is also to be dyeing the linen for my own retreats. And so in order to make sure that happens and I have enough linen, I can't put it in my shop right now. So basically I'm dyeing all this linen, and I'm not, and I'm just not selling it right now. Obviously, the goal is to do that at some point, but I need to have a good be able to have a good stock of linen to be able to do that. I may have like a few batches here and there, but the patron linens are exclusive to patrons as part of their benefit. I will put my patron channel below if you're interested in checking it out. But for today, I have these as giveaways. Again, it's a 40 count and a 32 count. So if you'd like either one, just comment using 40 or 32, and that's what I'll use to search those. So, and then thank you to everyone who either signed up or added their tier. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I will tell you when I'm doing things like this. Oh, and here it is out of the package. It's just a really good neutral. I am just doing sampler colors. I was going to do sampler colors and brights, and I had no one signed up for brights. So it's either my following or it's just everybody is just stitching on samplers. So that's it. That's what you will get, and you'll get a fat quarter of that. And what else am I working on? So some of the things that I have on my radar. This kit was this was from the 2019 retreat that was also Brenda Gervais. That was 2 or 3 retreats ago, or a few years ago, I guess. At that retreat, it was the same year that she released this Souvenirs of the Heart. This was the first one. So cute. And it is Autumn in Amana, since that's where we were, in Amana. It's so cute. It's got the little houses that are kind of reminiscent of the Amana style houses. She gave a great lecture and talked about Whitman's and how their boxes are designed after samplers. And we put, so the tart tray is here for a small pincushion pattern that's also included. She had us do just the sweetest little raspberry, and we put the pin together. Mine's still in the bag waiting for me to finish. And we antiqued it a little bit. So cute. We also painted the top. And so I just have that still in the little baggie here. This is for the pin cushion, and then the base came with it as well. And there is also a needle book in here, and the threads on this beautiful card. This is the best thing about going to retreats, is the amazing kits that the designers put together for you, and you have everything here. This was also a project. Actually, I was just watching Carol Saltbox Stitcher, and she showed this as well. And here's the little scissor fob we put together, and Brenda had these printed on the fabric, and we just wrapped it, and she showed us how to make this adorable little fob. And these are just beads with pins, I believe. I don't even remember, it's been so long. And then this was the pin cushion here, and the needle book, which is gorgeous. See that when it closes, how pretty that is. And then this was the main sampler. It's called Little Red House Sampler. This has not been released yet. There's a bunch of people that have stitched it. I know Shauna has stitched it from Stitching in Doodah. And I think Kyle, I can't remember if Kyle finished it or not. But there are a few people that stitch it, and it's beautiful. And this is another one that would look amazing in my home. That border is beautiful. And I love the pretty little motifs. They're just stunning. I think I would do something with this one too. I love that. So pretty. And this is not a reproduction that I remember. I'm pretty sure it was based off of a sampler that she had, but not like a true reproduction. But it is stunning. So I really want to get that one started as well. So those are a couple of pieces that are on my radar. Some other samplers that I have. This is Honeysuckle Manor. I was so happy when these were re-released. I have these in my shop as well. This is stunning. The colors are amazing. There is the antiques. Barb and Alma don't typically do stitch by stitch reproductions. They are the queens of the adaptation. And, or I don't know, this one, yeah, it says it's adapted, but it's pretty close to the original, but it's really beautiful. I would love that hanging in my home. That's amazing. Absolutely stunning. There was also a little project in here. There's a couple samplers in here, and there's another one. Love that one as well. That one would look perfect in any room in my house. There is this beautiful box. That's just a paper mache box, and they do all these really, yep, it's just a 3.5 by 5.5 paper mache box, but doesn't that look amazing? And their instructions are really great. And look at the inside of this. What? And that's just paper. And if you didn't want to do that, you didn't have to. You wouldn't have to, but it sure is beautiful. So pretty. And they show you exactly how to do it in the book. It is absolutely stunning. Of course, you know, I intend to do it that way, but we'll see. Little thread keep scissor fob. Very cute. I love this book. And the pin cushion. Gorgeous. And there's the side view. This book is just stunning. And here is that little pin cushion there is just adorable. I believe it was Alma's husband that used to, there's, let's see. That's just so pretty. Simple but pretty. And I believe that it's Alma's husband that used to make the bases for them. Another pin cushion. So pretty. I cannot stand how pretty these are. Gorgeous. Here's a really nice close-up. Isn't this a beautiful book? That is stunning. Stunning. Oh, look at how cute these are. So in the book, I don't know that for a fact. I just, what I recall reading, Wooden Pin Cushion Bases by Dave Allen, who's now always in the garage. So at some point, I'm totally assuming that's that is Alma's husband, brother. I don't know. I'm assuming that's what it is. And so you can't really get these bases anymore, but you can go to Michael's and get like a candlestick base or something like that to put them on. Or I don't know. I have to figure something out. When I figure it out, I will definitely share it. But those are adorable. Can't not do that one, because who doesn't love a house? And the samplers are on the back. They're so beautiful. Some of the other samplers that I would like on my wall. These, lots of Chessie and Me. I just really love her designs. This is a beautiful sampler. I love the colors. I saw this stitched. Did she have it stitched? Or I feel like she had it stitched when she was at Quilter Station, the retreat I believe it was last September. she had a bunch of her samples there, and she had tons of charts there, and I snagged a bunch that I knew I didn't have. Love this. This was stitched. I remember it because typically I wouldn't love a yellow house, but it is so pretty. In person, it's so pretty. Another one. Love both of these. So those are just gorgeous. And, oh, and I'm sorry, let me tell you the names of these. This is Hannah Comperf 1818 sampler. This one here. This is Lincoln Home 1860 sampler. And this is Gettysburg 1862 sampler. So Civil War style. Go great because I love a Civil War themed quilt too. Those colors and textures. And this is the Peace and Goodwill sampler. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure this is a meant to be a Christmas sampler. It's beautiful. I would keep this out all year long too. Red house. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. So those are some charts that are definitely, projects that are definitely on my radar. And I also have a couple projects that are non-cross stitch related that I thought I would share with you. One is embroidery, and this is from Under the Garden Moon. And it is a little needle book kit. I'm going to put a picture here of what it looked like. I believe she had these kits at market. And I'm going to also, this is a monthly stitch along. So I'm doing this monthly and I get a box every month. My friend Karen has started it, and I'll post her progress here on her first page or her first box. So you get this little pre-printed sheet which you stitch over the lines, and then you fill in with these types of stitches. You also get links to her videos with instructions, so if you don't know how to do the stitch, like I don't know how to do a lot of these stitches, she will teach you. And so this is pages 1 and 4. They get folded up and put into like a soft book, and it comes with some interfacing, came with a little extra piece of linen and some threads to practice stitches, which I thought that was very nice. And then these are the threads. It's all pearl cottons. I love using pearl cottons, and they are all different counts too. So there's some pearl cottons 12s, 8s, and 5s. So it's kind of fun. You get a little chance to use everything. There's some instructions, and then she gives the instructions, written instructions as well. And I think that there is a picture in here of what it'll look like. How cute is that? So I really want to get started on that. And then there was also a little needle case, and it's got a magnet in it, and then all these needles, different kinds of needles, because you'll need different needles for some of the different stitches. So this is kind of helping me to branch out, you know, of the typical buttonhole stitch, and that when doing applique as well. So it's a good practice piece. So again, it's Under the Garden Moon. Give you that there. And this is the Stitch Sampler book. And then it comes every month in this nice little box. And so I'm just going to keep that all together. And hopefully next time I'll be able to start that. The other thing I would like to start is, and again, inspired by my friend Karen, ta-da! This is her finished quilt. She is so productive. She's Yellow Farmhouse, I believe, on Instagram. If that's not correct, I'll put it down here, but I think she's Yellow Farmhouse. I think her account may be private, but boy, if you want to be inspired, go check out, she does cross stitch. I don't think she posts a lot of her cross stitch, but she does a lot of wool applique, and she's a beautiful stitcher, and she does a lot of quilting, and she shows pictures of her house. It's just beautiful. Her decor is beautiful. All of her beautiful things that she's made. So I, of course, I've seen it a couple times when she's posted it, and I just love this. And so I bought the pattern. It is big. I read the instructions. She suggests getting page protectors, putting it all in a book, and doing that. It uses so much, so many fat quarters. It's a lot of different colors, super scrappy, and I want mine to be super scrappy too. And Karen's colorway, so I just want to show you the difference. So here is this one, and I'll put Karen's next to it. Karen's colorway is really beautiful. And so that is on my project list, is to start. I'm not going to like be able to start the quilt probably anytime super soon, but I am going to start pulling fabrics because that's going to be a project in and of itself. I think that's all I have. So again, I hope you can make it to the wool retreat. I think that's going to be really great. I am working on the designer for next year because I definitely want to do this again. It's going to be, I'm hoping, I kind of pre-talked about it with Annette from the Woolen Needle. I've not confirmed anything with her, but those that attend will get first dibs at next year too. And so I'm hoping for an exclusive design from the Woolen Needle. And if you've been to Amana and you've gotten over to that shop, you know how amazing the shop is. And she does quite a bit of the designing for their own patterns. I'm going to be starting carrying a lot of her designs in my shop as well and kitting those wools up. I have purchased a bunch of wool dyes, and I've been playing with them a little bit. There's a big learning curve. I've never dyed wool before, so there's learning curve there for me. So once I get that nailed down, I will start selling it in my shop, and then I'll have it available for you guys. Okay, so I have the list of winners here. Here it is. Okay, first is a token of friendship. Okay, first is Pineberry Lane, a token of friendship, and that is going to Diane Mitchell, M-I-T-C-H-E-L-L. I feel like I have this big list. Diane Mitchell. And next is, you had to use the word crow, and that is, I don't have glasses on, Mr. Crow's Pumpkin. That's a buttermilk basin, sorry about that, wool kit. And there's my logo that I was talking about, Shirley. That is a really nice wool kit, beautiful colors, and that is going to Janice Stewart, S-T-E-W-A-R-T, Janice Stewart. And Spooky, another buttermilk basin kit for the spooky pillows, and has all the wool. That is going to Marilyn Furlich. Marilyn Furlich, F-E-R-L-I-T-S-C-H. And then Wendy, you guys had the best comments, by the way. Sometimes it's like when you have giveaways and stuff, you ask people to use a word in a sentence and they give you like 3-word sentences. Okay, that was not the case. You guys knocked it out of the park. I had such an enjoyable time reading through your comments. They were awesome. And I loved how you used Wendy. And so Wendy, if you're watching, you should go back and read the comments because they're pretty funny. So I have these from Wendy, from the Heart Needle Art. I have Quaker Bells and the February mini sampler. And that is going to Gretchen Dinger, D-I-N-G-E-R. So that was all I have, and this has gone on long enough, so I'm going to stop here. I do have other things on my table here. I'll just save them for next time. So I hope you guys have had a beautiful spring so far. I'm hoping that it warms up here soon because I'm sick of the cold and the wet. But I hope it's beautiful wherever you are. And I will see you very soon. I am not going to be another 6 months before I come back and shoot another video. And hopefully my next video will be a retreat video. And so I can share with you some of the things that we're doing. I'll talk to you later. Bye.